Hi guys, welcome back. In this video, I want to go through my top 5 favorite tools, language tools for learning Japanese. They're not only my top 5, but they're literally my only 5. In fact, I added more than 5 to the list. I've crammed some together, but it's not that long. It's pretty basic. It's what I'm using, and hopefully you can get something from this video. So number 1, no shocker at all. This is Anki. This is the fundamental, the foundational tool. I think it was Steve Kaufman from LingQ that said, the best way to measure how well you know a language is by how many words you know. It is probably the best metric. And how do you know how many words you know without an SRS tool like Anki? Now there are other SRSs out there, but this is the most classic. It does cost a little bit if you're an Apple user, but it's free on PC and it's free on Android and other devices as far as I know. And it's going to help you to memorize words. So that is your number 1 fundamental tool to learning language quickly. The next tool is the book, Remembering the Kanji. Especially with the AJATT method, people start off with this and they go through and they learn the most used 2,000 kanji. Now you can do this in 2 ways, I believe. You can either get the book and go through it that way. When I studied Chinese, I got Remembering the Hanzi. And I went through the book and I added them actually manually to Anki. But there are shared decks. If you go to Anki shared decks, you can find Remembering the Kanji decks on there as well. So you can choose, use the book or use the decks that come from the book. And that's going to be your number 1 tool, basically, along with Anki, when you first start on your language learning journey, especially if you are following the AJATT method. Number 3 on the list is where are you getting your content and immersion from? I'm going to combine all these together. So I've got Immersion, Netflix, YouTube, and Spotify. Animelon.com is a great source of free anime with subtitles. It also works great with Migaku, which I'm about to talk about. Netflix is the same, and YouTube, of course. Note with Netflix that there is a bit of playing around. You need to use a VPN and download it from Japan, Japanese Netflix, so you get the Japanese shows. YouTube, just type in any Japanese words into the search thing and then just subscribe to a bunch of channels. Great for immersion. And Spotify, probably the one I use the most actually. And this is for my passive immersion. There are tons of podcasts. If you go to my community posts or whatever on my channel, you can see I've posted links to 52 Spotify Japanese podcasts if you're interested in that. Now the next tool, which is not something everybody uses, is Migaku. Now, what does Migaku do? Migaku allows you to save words on those content platforms. So it works on YouTube, it works on Netflix, it works on Animelon, it probably works on other places, but there are other sites I've seen that it doesn't work on. So it puts subtitles on the video, you can import the words you already know, and it will save those. So when it's playing the anime or whatever you're watching, it will highlight words in the subtitles that you don't know. You can click on those words, you can save it, and it will import not only the word, the audio, the visual, example sentences straight into Anki, and that is how I basically make my flashcards at the moment. Migaku also has their own flashcard app on mobile as well, so you can use theirs. I haven't seen anybody review it. I'm not sure how good it is, what the algorithm is like, but for those of you who want to stick to what people know, which is Anki, it works seamlessly. And if you've watched my past maybe 2 videos about how I review flashcards, you can see what those flashcards look like. You can edit them as well, and it's audio straight from the anime or movie or whatever that you're watching, the sentence. It's perfect. I don't know how I could study without it at this point. Do note though that it is $5 a month. I think there might be a free version. You'll have to check out the site. I'm not associated with them. I'm not an advertiser for them. But I do recommend it. And the last one is Tae Kim's grammar guide. I would recommend either you go through the guide on the Tae Kim website, and those should be your initial sentences just to get to grips with how sentences are structured and a bit of grammar. Or you can do what I did and you go to Anki shared decks and you type in Tae Kim, and it won't come up with Tae Kim's grammar guide, but what it'll come up with is something like JLab's anime deck. Now what this incredible individual has done, who made this deck, is they have taken all the Tae Kim grammar guides points or grammar points, and they've found those grammar points in different anime and TV shows, and then used those examples to make a full flashcard deck of about 4,000 cards. I don't know how he did it, but it's pretty amazing if you think about it. It goes through at exactly the same pace as Tae Kim. He throws in some of his own. I think he constantly updates the deck as well. He includes notes in there as well. He goes through each grammar point at a time. And I started using that deck along with my own about 3 months ago maybe. And while I've gone through how I use my current deck, which is only using easy and good buttons on Anki, only using the 2 buttons, on the JLabs Tae Kim deck, I actually only use again and easy. So it is pretty easy. I don't stress too much about that deck. I kind of use it as a more structured reading immersion exercise rather than trying to really study the deck and get it right. So if I kind of get the card right, if I kind of understand the grammar, if I get the main point, then I hit easy. So I definitely recommend, you know, depending on what your learning style is or whatever, going to Tae Kim, getting your initial sentences from there. But I'd also recommend not purely using that deck. I don't think you should use pre-made decks when you finish, for example, remembering the kanji, but do have it as a supplementary deck if you do want to study grammar points in that way. I know a lot of immersion learners are like, don't study grammar, you'll learn it naturally, but I know for myself, and I know for a lot of other people, when they get into like that intermediate level, when they've been studying for a while and they still don't get some of the grammar points, you kind of want to scratch that itch, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to scratch that grammar itch and looking up grammar points and just wrapping your head around them and just scratching that itch like that. It's like, oh, now I understand what that grammar point is, and then you start recognizing it in other places. So I do recommend that, but again, don't go so hard on yourself with that supplementary deck. The purpose of it is to really just see, okay, do I get that grammar point, and then just hit easy. Or it's up to you how you want to use the deck, but I wouldn't use it as your primary deck. All right, another bonus tool you could use if you want to look up grammar points very, very quickly is I definitely recommend Cure Dolly's YouTube channel. If you want to look up a particle or how something works and you just want the answer quickly and you want a good explanation, Cure Dolly is by and far the best channel for just getting to grips with grammar patterns, particles, and she explains it better than anyone else. So if you go and look at her videos, you might see like a 10-minute video or something like that, but a lot of people out there do recommend turning the speed up to like 1.5 or 2 times the speed, and you can still get it because she does speak a little bit slowly. But having said that, the information and the way she presents it is top notch. All right, so those are my recommendations there. And basically, as I said at the beginning, these are not only my top 5 or 6, but it's all I'm using. These are the exact tools I use. I don't use anything else. Do I? No, I don't use anything else. This is what I'm using. It's what I'm going to continue to use. Let me know what you're using. Have I got a gap in my knowledge? Are you using something that you think I should use that I'm completely missing out on? If you do, please share down below, along with any questions, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.